and welcome back to the Gigi Vegas show. We left off on the subject of the foster system here in Las Vegas.
I'm the same little kid that was right here, but I took a pill and now I'm all grown up.
It doesn't take long. Their attention span is like 3 seconds.
Like herding cats.
Right.
Yeah, I was watching the show and I saw that it was going off the rails a little bit, so here we are.
Yeah, they were talking. We went on from the subject of Utah, etc.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we're talking about the foster system, and I asked them what their experience was.
Right.
And they didn't have much to say, of course, because they were like the cameras and all over and
Right.
etc. But you said that you have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, very interesting. I have quite a lot of questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
In my immediate family, my first cousins in California, they are have been doing foster children for many years. So when they come through town, I catch all the stories and I know what they're doing, and it'd be interesting to see if Nevada is the same way.
So no. Their system is actually more evolved and a lot better, a lot more organized than Vegas. 10 years ago, I mentioned 10 years ago, I was fostering one of my own families. So it's called the kinship. So when you're fostering your own family, it's called a kinship foster license, which you're not needed to go through and jump through hoops and everything just to be a foster parent. But you're still your background's still checked, etc.
Right.
It was horrible here. The system, and I'm allowed to say this because it's true. It's my own experience. It was horrible. It was more kind of like a Hitler type of
Now, do you, as a foster parent, you have to deal with a social worker from the state who oversees your platform or situation?
Yes. Yeah, they come visit me randomly, and so sometimes I'll get visits maybe every week,
right?
Sometimes every 2 weeks. So, but for the most part, the ones that I've had are really nice about it. But they do come. They're allowed to come whenever they want.
Okay, right.
Not in the middle of the night, but
right.
They come to just check up on the kids.
Well, it's their job. I mean, they place these kids in your home because of a certain situation that deems that they need to put these kids somewhere. Usually the parents are just not able to take care of these kids at the particular time. Right. So while the parents tend to try to get straightened out, you are the foster parents,
right.
and they bring kids to you. Now, my question is, like in California, do you have a choice to say, bring me the little guys? I don't want the big guys.
Right.
Do you have that choice here in Nevada?
Yes, you do. So my license is currently for teenagers, and
right.
I'm going to amend it. I'll tell you why in a minute, because I have too many of them. I just don't know what to do. But just joking. So you could either choose newborns to a certain age group. They even allow you to just do a certain race. So I don't, mine is, I told them, it doesn't really matter. My culture is very diverse.
Right.
My kids could get along with anybody and anyhow. But it kind of, they want to make sure that if it's in your family schedule and if it's in, in your guys's, whatever you guys are, like, for example, if your schedule is crazy, you might want to stick with somebody that's a teenager, right? That's more independent and so on. So they
right.
let you pick someone that's going to fit in your family.
Right, because I would just suspect some folks, the teenagers are, maybe they're just too big and they're too independent.
Right.
And golly, give me the baby where all I have to do is change the diapers. I can handle that. So now, in California, foster parents are compensated through the state.
Right.
Is the same thing happen here?
Right, but a lot of misunderstandings.
Okay, go
so
into
they're
that.
Compensated, but it's compensated pretty much just to cover their expenses and their living expenses and give them clothing and money, for school, etc., for their needs. So you cannot make a living off of it. It's not for that purpose. The purpose is to want to help a child and not to do it for a living. And they do it for a purpose. They do it so that people are not just exactly doing it for a living and not
right.
care about the child.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So I noticed, let me ask you this, because I know you're a very spiritual lady. And I know your faith is very important to you. My cousins are very spiritual, and their faith is extremely important to them also. Do you feel these, does that help? If you're a faith-based family, like I know you are, does that help? Is it the mindset?
Tremendously. In the Bible, it says, now don't quote me on exactly what it says, but it said, Jesus said, he that invites or accepts a child into their home accepts me, and if you accept me, you have accepted the Father. So that helps me a lot. Calvary Chapel also has, which is a church, also has a support system for foster parenting. I'm yet to have the time to do it, but I know that it's there.
Right.
They have nights out for parents. They have all the support, and just having the strength and finding, a Bible verse that will give you patience, that will have you, get that spiritual strength, so that you're loving the child no matter what.
Now, let me ask you, when you were brand new, that first time,
Right.
because that's, we talk about you want to do this part of your life. Maybe you're an empty nester. Maybe like you're just like, I got so many kids, what's a couple more?
Right.
But there had to be a decision between you and your husband, like, okay, we want to take this on. What advice would you have for someone who's maybe, golly, I have the need, and I want the feeling of helping, but I'm just not sure I want to deal with, kids that may have grown up in a really hard time.
Right.
What is there any advice that you can give, or you just got to say, hey, you just got to jump in and see what happens?
No, absolutely no, not. You have to prepare yourself mentally and spiritually, physically. You have to prepare yourself to know that you just don't know what case you're gonna have inside of your house. You also have to do it from your heart. If you don't do it from your heart, forget about it. You're gonna turn around and drop the kid off right away, because it could be very, very intense. Even me, that it took me years, because since the last time I wanted to eventually get this done and do it.
Right.
And it took me years to prepare myself mentally and physically, and it's still kind of like the first time, it's just like, whoof! Oh my God, I didn't know this. Like, I did, but then I didn't realize how intense it could be at times. So.
Right, interesting. Now, I have another question for you. I'm always full of questions. Huh?
Right.
Child comes into your home. I don't know. I know my cousins, he tends to know the issue. Maybe probably not all the situation is where these kids are coming from, but he certainly has an idea. Here in Nevada, they kind of like, okay, you're bringing in this 9-year-old, and here's why he's here. And if you do kind of get the idea, I know why he's here, how do you deal with that? I mean, you have such a loving, working family, and then you're bringing in someone who's probably from a tremendously broken family.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
So they will tell you what's wrong with their parents and why they're there, but they won't tell you, because they won't know what's going on with the child. So a lot of times you'll get a child and that's broken, and that actually had other abuse history. Like, it happened on my last case that I took the child and they took her for domestic violence, but she had actually gone through some sexual abuse that nobody had known about. And that was an eye-opener, because so this child is way more broken than they actually know.
Do we, and maybe as far, the sexual stuff, which is, I know to most of us, we can't go there. But do you kind of need a special license for that? Do they only place, this kid's been sexually abused, do you have to have a special level or license to say, okay, we can put her with her, but we can't Danny Vegas is a no, but Gigi is a yes.
No, they train you. So in other words, they check your background. If they see anything there, they'll question everything. But for the most part, they check everyone's background. And if you don't pass that, you're out. And if you do pass through all the hoops and everything, and I don't mean to make it sound like it's very complicated to get your foster license. It's really not. But they have you go through classes for all types of abuse, and they put scenarios and they train you on that, and then you continue that training through a system that's called the QPI, which is actually very helpful for my own kids. So that you go through a lot of parenting skills that you go through, and which it kind of helps that I used to be a rape crisis counselor too. So
is there anything you have not done?
Yes, there is. I will never jump off the stratosphere or something, or skyline.
Okay. Let me ask you this. I had a question in my mind. Gee whiz, it just kind of slipped out of my mind. Let me try to bring it back to my head. As far as... golly, I kind of lost my train of thought because it was so interesting about what you were saying. So we know that specific kids, they do the background check and all that. So I guess the question for me is, kids come in and out of your family all the time, and they're there. Now, I tend to know from my cousin's experience that children may be granted parent visits. And that's something you have to deal with also, right?
Right. So I have to make sure that they see their parent, their biological parent, whether even if I know that I'm adopting, because I am adopting, hoping to adopt one of my child. So I still have to take them to see their parent, because and I would, even if after the adoption, I plan to do so anyways, because you will never lose that bond. That's the biological parent. That would be extreme if I just say, nope, you can't see your mom anymore. That would be horrible. So I make sure that they go and see. Now, sometimes they don't want to see their parent.
Okay, interesting.
And they're not forced to, but they're encouraged to.
Okay. I remember my question now. In your experience, and how many years you've been doing this, by the way?
I've just started again.
Okay.
I did this 10 years ago.
Okay, now you're starting back.
About,
What of the number of cases that you have, how much are these kids in your home because in their home there is drug abuse?
Oh, it's tremendous. It's horrible. It just gave me shivers. Most of them are because of drug abuse, and most of them are newborns, babies, or teen adults that their parents just get drugged right in front of them. So the drug abuse here in Las Vegas is tremendous. I think that it needs to be spoken of. It needs to be out there. There needs to be awareness about this huge issue, because we measure Virginia and other states like up in the West, and then we say, oh, we're not that bad, but it's going to get there, especially with the marijuana pass law.
Right. Interesting. We don't have a lot of time left, Cece. It's been a great topic. I love it. I can't wait to short clip it and get the highlights out there and put it out there. But it's interesting when it comes to this drug abuse stuff. Someone's producing that stuff.
Exactly.
Someone out there is sitting on a lawn chair by a pool, drinking their martinis, that is producing this poison that is slowly infecting the society.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. To me, I'm not a big fan of all that. I'm not glorifying these guys. I think they're killers in their own way. And you are the hero that deals with the end result. So you got 45 seconds. Finish it up.
We desperately need more foster parents. It's not an easy gig. And you need a big heart. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of folks out there that do have a big heart to do it. There's a lot of kiddos that are just still left in the system. And not only that, there's social workers that are loaded with cases. They're only supposed to have 15 kiddos at a time, and they're loaded with up to like 40, 29. So we need more people to get involved and become social workers, push our senators and push our state representatives to do more things about it, and just spread the word out that they need a lot of help right now.
Well, you are a hero in our community, and we are honored to have you part of our network.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Thank you, Danny.
We love you. Okay, go ahead, sign it off. It's your show.
Bye, guys. See you next Thursday at 3 o'clock, and we're going to talk about the nutrition and how it benefits our body, mind, state, and everything else.
All right, bye.